Hey there everyone, how's it going? Shari Mustafi's here. We're changing up the meta a little bit in between the uploads today, and we're going to be taking out the Call of Duty Cold War reveal trailer for the multiplayer. And you know what? Let's get right to that, right after the intro bumper. So, Black Ops Cold War's multiplayer has officially been revealed, and I've got gameplay right here taken directly from the official Call of Duty stream. David Vondahara and the team of Treyarch, they took about a half an hour to talk about the multiplayer, the maps, the modes, the settings, the weapons, and even a little bit more. And I'm going to try and condense everything I can into just one little video, including a small amount of information that I got a little bit on Warzone for Cold War. But before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already. I'll be definitely uploading more content around Warzone and Cold War as the game comes closer and closer to the launch. Plus, we're trying to hit about 100 subscribers by the end of this month, so it would mean a lot if you can help out. Okay, so Black Ops Cold War is all about deniable operations set in the 1980s during the height of the Cold War, and is set directly from the first original Black Ops game. Operators from the story and a single campaign will be carried into multiplayer and into Warzone, along with the storyline that basically expands upon the single player story. So just like Modern Warfare, Cold War has this big overarching narrative that each element of the game plays into, that it takes cues from these deniable operations. They're battles that you'll be fighting, that they're the ones that never officially happen and not appear on paper anyway. We've got maps set in the North Atlantic where two factions are fighting over a recovery of a prototype submarine. On the seafloor, air, land, sea, jet skis, zip lines even between ships, which is, I think that's pretty cool. Then on the deserts of Angola, where a satellite has crashed, and you're basically having to recover that. And once again, two factions are fighting between that. You have locations like the Kremlin, and then as well as Uzbekistan, Ural Mountains. Cold War takes all these locations with a classic 3-lane map design, with wide open spaces and much more unique large-scale maps into the multiplayer environment. Larger maps that will combine infantry and vehicle combat with access to ground vehicles and tanks, ATVs, whereas smaller maps will be 6v6 TDM domination combat that we all know about Call of Duty does really, really well. Alongside TDM, there's going to be a hardpoint, free-for-all, kill confirm, basically all your classic game modes returning, and a return of a control game mode from Black Ops 4. And there are 3 other modes that we need to still talk about: VIP Escort, Combat Arms, and Fire Team. VIP Escort is a 6v6 mode, which 2 teams have to protect or eliminate a player, which is the VIP, and which is randomly selected as the VIP, and they're equipped only with a pistol, a smoke grenade, and a spy plane for recon. And if the VIP is to successfully escape, the round ends, and as their teammate defends them, the round ends if the VIP basically dies, or they just completely get away with it. Also, there's a 12 combined arms is a 12v12 mode that combines infantry and vehicle combat, and is geared towards different situations and includes snowmobiles, dirt bikes, guns, it's just a lot. And then there's Fire Team, which is a new category of multiplayer where it puts 10 teams of 4 players each against each other in a large-scale map featuring assortment of vehicles to commandeer and objectives to complete as you see fit. Fire Team is allowed and designed for plenty of epic gameplay moments with big unique environments for you and your squad to explore, according to Treyarch anyway. The first signature game mode for Fire Team is called Dirty Bomb. So that's the locations, game modes covered. So now on to the combat of Cold War. So it's moving away from the previous pick 10 system that was enabled for the gun customization back in the older Black Ops games, and it's moving towards something similar to what Modern Warfare has. And Cold War is using the creator class system very similar to Modern Warfare's operators. You'll be always running a primary, a secondary weapon, a tactical and a lethal equipment, a wild card, and a full set of 3 perks in a loadout. Gunsmith from Modern Warfare returns in Cold War, although things seem to have been turned up a little bit. There will be a new about 54 attachments per weapon for across 8 different attachments. One of the wildcards indicated ups the attachments restrictions from 5 to the full 8, and that's amazing. And that blows my mind, honestly. And it gives you full control of the weapon. And the statistics, which was missing in Modern Warfare, appears in Cold War. As you can see in the screenshot above, there's some proper customization, and it just basically relies on the theme of being redacted or not redacted, and you unlock as you go with classic Call of Duty fashion. There are classic weapons like the AK-47 and 7.4U, 1911 pistol, and of course even more, all customizable with plenty of attachments. Field upgrades are all Cold Era war themed, as you should expect. Options like the Sound Terror, Jammer, Proximity Mine, these are all earned via time spent in game, just they are in Modern Warfare. And score streaks are back to Cold War, completely become revamped, apparently a little bit more dynamic this time. According to Treyarch, score is no longer lost on death, and you'll earn score multipliers as you string together multiple kills in a single life. It's a little bit more dynamic. You earn more score playing the objective, and once you use your score streak, it'll go into a cooldown to prevent spam. And they include the classic RCXD, the attack chopper, and even new stuff like the War Machine grenade launcher that was featured in the trailer. And they have some smaller things that didn't really kind of fit into normal conversation multiplayer. All the settings that you have for the loadout, stuff like to do with general gameplay. And I want to mention them because I really think that they're very important to the previous game in Modern Warfare. So when you drop shot in Call of Duty Cold War, you automatically unscope and go to hip fire, and you can't really get out of that. And this is the combat, basically the drop shotting mechanic that kind of has been annoying a lot of people. And while I was watching the stream, I saw this happen. I just forgot to record it and show it to you. Maybe I'll find a clip on it, and maybe I won't as I'm recording this. But for me, I hate heading drop shot. It's such a cheap tactic for individuals. And I know a lot of my friends, when we play crossplay on Modern Warfare, I'm a PC player, as you guys know, and I have no beef with console players. But a lot of my console friends, that was their go-to tactic. If they couldn't win a gunfight against me, they'd drop shot. So I'd have to get really good at aiming for heads, and they'd rage quit and leave. And it's the most hilarious thing in the world. I'll probably upload some gameplay of that later this week. But it's going to be less egregious, as they would say, in Cold War, and then that's good for me. I'm happy for that. Time to kill in Cold War is slightly faster than Black Ops 4, and so I think that's very close to what's currently active in Modern Warfare. Health auto regen is also back, so players can just focus on gameplay rather than managing their own health pool. Unlimited sprint returns to Cold War again. Means that you can move through the map without losing focus on gameplay, but it's a little bit different. Every single time you sprint, you have a small burst of speed, and then it just flattens out into a curve, and it will settle back down to a normal sprint level as you keep moving. And I think this has been added to because there's no tactical sprint in Cold War. You know that 2-stage system in Modern Warfare where you can sprint with your gun held up in the air, or you can just sprint normally with just it's swaying side to side using 2 hands. There's no technical sprint in Cold War, and I guess that's why it's set that way, to speed up and then slow down, and speed up and slow down, I guess. Players will be able to edit their loadouts mid-match, and means no quitting out of lobbies this time because you forgot to change a small thing. And the ninja perk is basically back, which is just dead silence from Modern Warfare, and it's going to work slightly different. Depending on how fast you're moving, the ninja effect will vary. If you crouch walking, you'll make almost no noise whatsoever. But if you're full sprinting, the sound will still be louder, but not as loud as if you're running without the ninja effect active. So to me, that sounds like a good balance. I might finally be able to some kind of idea where the player might be, and they can just completely silent even though they fully sprint next to me, and as they do in Modern Warfare. I really don't like that system, to be honest. So if this works out in Black Ops Cold War, this could be a good change. Now, on from all of that general multiplayer stuff, I do have some limited information about Warzone. In the stream, Dave Vonderhaar confirmed that both Cold War and Warzone will heavily integrate together, and various other members mentioned Warzone during the live stream, and one of the main things was progression being shared between the two parts of the game. This means that XP earned in Warzone, any unlocks earned in Warzone, gun rank ups, new attachments and stuff like that, that will all carry over into Cold War and will be active in Warzone. It doesn't matter where you unlock it, you'll be able to use it on both sides. According to Treyarch, Warzone is also going to pick up from where Modern Warfare's narrative left off, and it's going to weave in the narratives, the themes, and the locations of Cold War into Warzone. So I'd expect some pretty significant changes to the Warzone map when it's handed over from Modern Warfare to Cold War. One thing that's staying the same is the content from Modern Warfare that exists in Warzones. So all the weapons that you use, operators that you use, the weapon skins, the charms, and the things like that, all of that is going to remain accessible in Warzone and Modern Warfare. So even though Cold War is taking Warzone over to a new game, all the items that you earned, unlocked, or bought from Modern Warfare from the previous game, those will still exist in Warzone when it moves to Cold War, which is pretty awesome. That means all the content that's already in Warzone will be active in Cold War. And then of course you've got all the Cold War content that will be coming to Warzone as well. That's a huge amount of content that we'll have to play with. At the moment, that's all the Warzone information that we have, and I'm guessing that will be a separate review event for Warzone that's coming later, closer to launch, and along with probably a zombies reveal. Well, oh, and one final thing, kind of important, all of the Black Ops Cold War post-launch content like multiplayer maps, modes, that will be free for everybody. That also applies to Warzone as well, which remains the big free-to-play element of Call of Duty. So Warzone is going to stay free to play. Cold War, you'll probably have to pay your $60 or whatever to get post-launch content, and all of that is going to be free, just as same as it has been with Modern Warfare. So right now, that's really all that I know about Black Ops multiplayer, and I hope you enjoyed the gameplay and the whole entire thing. What do you guys think about this sort of commentating, this news reporting thing that I did to change up the meta for the gameplay of this channel? I know I've been uploading a lot of Halo content recently, and it's just been silent gameplay, raw gameplay of me just playing the campaigns, and that's because I've been pretty busy with my other channels lately, trying to get other projects off the start. If you're interested in that, all the links are in the description below. And that basically brings us to a close to our video. If you made it this far, I want to see you comment below. Are you excited for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War? Do you think it's a step forward or a step back for the game? I personally would have to get my hands on the game in order to judge it a bit more. I try not to judge things on a face value. I mean, it's Call of Duty after all. It's going to be the same meta as it's always been. But to me, 2019's Modern Warfare was a breath of fresh air. And I'll probably do a review video on Cold War when it comes out closer. But that depends on you guys. So I want to hear from you in the comments below. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Take care.